When I move my fingers like this, harmonica sounds come out of them. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for listening to the show, and we are here to talk about one of the newest event spaces here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Bowman Twin Event Center. If you want to have a rave, you could have it there. If you want to have a bar mitzvah, you could have it there. If you want to have just a group of people hanging out in a big concrete room, boom, these people are these people are the people to reach out to. They have told me specifically that anything that you can do in a concrete room, they will have in their space as long as they can hose it out afterwards. So give those people a call. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know you do. You're going to call them at 918-820-2830 or visit the BowmanTwinEventCenter.com and find out how to throw a real party in this town. Right, Huff?
Righto!
Yeah, oh. Enjoy the show. Fresh off his win at the Red Dirt Film Festival for Best Cinematographer, Jacob Leighton Burns lines up his shot at the table this week on Sitting with the Sosk. From editing on his own VHS to streaming in your living room and premiering in New York City, we find out where this guy came from and how the hell he got so good. Electric Nostalgia, Shifter, Flint, Janitor, and how it all started with a lizard named Fifi. Sitting with the Sosk, produced by Streamliner. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sitting with the Frickin' Sosk. Take away the frickin'. Thank you for joining me. You guys haven't... The thing that's crazy... Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
You haven't been with us for the last 2 weeks because we haven't had a show. So we've been making lots of shows. And suddenly we had this break where Huff got a gig. And Huff, where did you go?
I was working in Arkansas on a made-for-TV movie.
By the way, that's Huff, and he's the guy that's working the cameras on the show. Everybody knows Huff because they know his giggle by now, don't we? So say hello to Huff, everybody.
Oh, Huff, everybody.
And then we have Sash working the cameras, working the board, making the magic happen back there. Say hello, Sash.
Hola, amigos.
You've been working on something too, Sash, haven't you, these days?
See, I've been working on color correction and editing a bunch of stuff, including the Daryl Starburst show footage.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we went to the I'm going to say it wrong, the Daryl Starbird show. So why would a film and television show podcast go to see a car show? Here's why. Because it's fucking awesome. We had a great time there. I met the Evil Knievel midget. I met the Ghostbuster car. Huff and I had just a blast, which, by the way, we are going to be throwing up on the YouTube channel. So we have this YouTube channel as well of the podcast. So you know there is, I keep saying, there's going to be bonus content. I'm editing it right now, and it's going to be a very entertaining show. I sit down and I find out all about the Evil Midget. Because we are Evil Midget approved. And if you want to know what the hell that means, check out our YouTube channel because I'll be talking all about it. But the more important thing that's going on right now is I have a gentleman at this table I'm so excited to have. I love jamming with a DP. And being a guy from New York, I have had an opportunity to work with many different sides of walks of life, races, creeds on the other side of the camera, and I love each time. So when I came here, one of the things I was worried about was was I going to find talented DPs here? And the first gig that I got here, I got to play with this gentleman at my table, Jacob Leighton Burns. Leighton Burns.
Leighton, that's
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah,
I said
nailed
it right.
it.
I said it right.
Nailed it.
I've been killing names to start. I mispronounced things, misnamed things, but dude, I just want to give you your flowers and your props at the table. I got a chance to work on this cat with 2 films, very different pieces. And I felt so safe in your hands. I had such a good time passing ideas back and forth. Before long, we were going on our own and jamming on things in the midst of the first piece that we were working on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I, as a skilled technician behind the camera, as someone who tells stories with the thing that you're framing up, with a lot of detail. Thank you for joining me here, and I can't wait to hear about all the things about you. What's happening?
Oh, wow.
Ooh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Huff coming in.
Wow. Well, I'm honored to be here.
Oh man. So you're not you're not a born and bred.
No, not in Oklahoma. No,
So where
no.
do you come? Where do you hail from?
I was born in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And then we kind of bounced around Missouri, a few small towns. I spent a lot of my time in Carterville, Missouri, which is near Joplin, Missouri, which is about 2 hours away from here. And then around, around 1999 is when we moved to Oklahoma.
In Missouri, is there any starting of interest in camera? Was it from the get-go?
Yeah. Basically, I think I was possibly born a film nerd.
Many of us have been.
Yeah,
Yep.
if you can relate. Yeah, no, my dad in particular was a huge movie buff growing up. And so he introduced me and my brother to a very wide range of films at a much earlier age than people would normally see these films.
Like what? Like, because I am a father, I have a daughter, so tell me the things that your dad pushed the level.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a lot of, like, classic films and, like, silent films. So, like, we're second graders who are huge fans of, like, the Marx Brothers and huge fans of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and Abbott and Costello, like a lot of that type of stuff.
So you're watching on the Sundays? Are you watching the black and whites, the Abbott and Costellos, and the Three Stooges?
Yeah, whenever we felt like watching a movie, we were watching one of those probably.
Wow.
And so, yeah, he just introduced us to a lot of stuff. And plus, we also just went to the movies a lot, so I saw all that stuff. And, of course, as a kid of the 90s, was a huge Power Rangers fan and Ninja Turtles fan. So, but, yeah, I started to just have a love of movies, and it was in third grade that I told my, that they asked everybody in the class, like, write down or whatever, like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And most people were like, doctor, lawyer, like respectable position, jobs.
Sure.
And I wrote movie director.
Nice.
And, of course, they made like kind of a snarky comment. She was like, well, remember me when you're famous. And I'm like, okay. I will remember you.
Mine was special effects because I loved the Fangorias and the Starlog magazines when people still bought magazines. I used to have collections of those stuff, and I loved seeing how the stuff was made. Though I'm not a real horror buff now, but I loved seeing the stuff on behind it for the Thing for Carpenter stuff. And that's,
absolutely.
Escape from L.A., Escape from New York. All the stuff that was behind that, the Jason movies, the Fridays, the 13th. Was there a first one? So you like Power Rangers, but is there a first movie that, how do you connect watching the Thing to making the idea that I want a director be the DP?
It really started with me, I had, movies that I'd watch over and over again, and I would suddenly realize, that
somebody should have turned off their fucking phone.
Man.
Oh yeah. I finally found the time to use it. My wife. Go, please. Before you were so rudely interrupted.
Yeah. Where was I? So yeah, I had films that I would watch over and over again, and I started to realize that some of those films had, there's the credits at the beginning of the movie, and I would see the same names across some of them, and one in particular was Steven Spielberg. And so it was kind of a, between him and then also Tim Burton was the other big one.
Yeah, sure. So Close Encounters, E.T., Jaws.
Exactly.
Boom. And then you have Scissorhands and whatever.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas, stuff like that. And so, I start to realize all these, that's when I start to compute that there were people who made these things, that there was someone, and, the director, like, what do they do? And they're kind of the ultimate creative decisions and stuff like that. And so, that's really where it started. I kind of fell in love with those movies and realized that people made those things. And I guess wanted to do that too.
So in anything about it in high school, did you have instructors that are pointing you to cameras? Do you have even that availability in the high schools in Missouri?
Yeah. So it's in sixth grade was when I made my first film.
Fucking Jesus. Wow. Sixth grade.
Yeah. And if you dig deep enough on YouTube, you can find it.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube that
there
shit.
you
Come
go.
on.
But it was a Godzilla ripoff that we called Fifi. So our giant lizard was named Fifi for some reason. And we had Godzilla action figures and toy soldiers and stuff like that we used for like miniatures. And then
Nice.
I acted in it. My brother acted in it.
Wait,
we had
you
some other
put
friends,
someone in
yeah.
a freaking suit?
No, we didn't have a suit. We used miniatures.
Gotcha.
Or the toys we already owned.
Are you doing the like,
We did some of that. Oh
Nice.
yeah. We went all the way. And then our dad showed us how to. So this was back in the VHS days. Those are VHS cameras. So he showed us how to hook up VCRs and how to edit between two VCRs.
Wow.
So we did that. And then
VCRs?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
And then
How did you do that?
You God, I have to
Not to-
remember.
yeah.
Not to get
It's a
super
short show.
technical. Yeah. You just hook one up, and one of them is the tape you're recording to, and one of them is the tape that you're playing. So you just have to like coordinate when you like press start.
Yeah,
stop on both of them,
yeah.
and you play a bit, and then you can
In sixth grade, I wanted to.
Yeah.
I want to see young Jacob Leighton Burns.
Yeah, sitting in front of the TV.
Sweat, little bead of sweat coming down. Can I press at the right time? Oh, it's
Exactly.
dope.
Yeah. It's took some coordination.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then after that, so we had borrowed that camera from a friend of the family, and my dad was really proud of us making that movie, so he started showing people. And another friend of the family just happened to have a VHS camera just sitting around their house that they hadn't used in years. And so
Give
they
it to
gave
young Jacob.
They gave it to little Jacob and little
Oh
Zachary.
man!
And
then you're on.
and yeah, we kind of exploded from there. So
We should mention your brother
Yeah.
as well, who is a wonderful. He takes the still photography on both of the things. That he
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
And as a writer and a director.
Director mostly, didn't write as much, but yeah,
Okay,
he
a director
directs,
as
yeah.
well. Wonderful. His brother was on both the sets, and we had very different energies from the both of them. He is a smart ass to the nth degree, but a
He's
quiet smart
mastered
ass.
it, yeah.
Mastered at being in the corner at the opposite end of the room, but you
Yeah.
can catch a side eye from him.
You can feel
really-
it. You can feel it.
He's got a talent.
Yeah.
and beautiful photographer.
Yeah, he's
You
great,
want
yeah.
still photography, you need to check this guy out. We'll put his stuff at the end on the scroll and on Substack. You need to check out his work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But enough about him.
Yeah, no, so we got that out of the way. Where were we? We got this VHS camera, and we just from there we just kept making things. It's things made by sixth graders, so they're only so
but
good.
Still.
But we were experimenting very early on. We
And
didn't.
you're inspired by Spielberg.
Yeah.
So you're trying to. Are you making action films? Are you making big movies with your
Oh
fucking?
yes.
It's
Oh
so
yeah.
dope,
We
dude.
the main thing we did was we tend to take movies that we liked, that were like popular at the time, and we'd make like our own version, or we'd make a sequel to it. So we made Jurassic Parks, 3, 4, and 5, when we were in sixth grade.
that's
We were way ahead of Hollywood on that. And then we also made
You need to get one of those Spielberg right now, because
Yeah.
maybe there'll be another one in the works that could be a
yeah, exactly, yeah,
sprouted from your
exactly,
ideas.
yeah. We'll use those ideas for sure. But yeah, and then we had another one called The Big Rock Headed for Earth, which was a take on Armageddon, and Deep Impact came out around
Oh,
that
yeah,
time.
man.
So we're like, well, we need our own meteor, destroying the Earth movie. So we made our own.
What did you do for the meteor? Did you try to
We
have like special effects with little flames burning from a meatball?
not that far, but yeah, we had what did we do? We printed out onto paper like the Earth onto some paper, and then we embraced our lo-fi-ness. We
Yeah,
had, like,
yeah. No, I like it.
One of us was holding a rock, like right in front of the camera to make it look big.
Yeah.
And then as it got close, the other one of us, just ripped.
Oh, I love it.
The paper of the Earth.
I call that leaning in.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Sometimes you are presented with circumstances
Exactly.
and what you can film within.
Exactly.
Do the best you can with what you have, with where you're at,
Exactly.
and that's wonderful.
Yeah, and and that, as goofy as that was, I think that mentality has stuck with us though. Like
Oh,
to
for sure.
constantly
Dude, you're
be
like a
looking
little
for
kid
the-
when we were together. on
yeah,
set. Yeah.
yeah. Like I don't know, we love finding those cheap solutions, and if we can't compete with Hollywood budgets or whatever, for whatever reason, there's
There's
still
ways
things we can do that
Yes.
that
Agreed.
just embrace what we can do, or maybe we do something totally different. So
I love that I came from the boards, which is like that theater mentality. Like we don't have to pay $1 million
Yeah.
for something.
yeah,
Maybe just maybe, and not sacrifice anything either. That's
Yeah.
an important way to. That I saw that in action on set too.
yeah,
That we could do something simple and we could just shoot it right
yeah,
with one light and
Yeah.
not have to have a huge setup.
Yeah.
Or also,
Yeah.
and I saw you bend when something needed to change that you didn't want to, but you had to.
Mhm.
You kind of have
Yeah,
to
do
run
what
with
you gotta
those
do. Yeah,
circumstances.
of course. Yeah.
So we find ourselves making things with VHS. Everybody's like, boy, young Jacob is talented. But we find ourselves now in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Where are we in school at this point? Are we?
Yeah. So let's see. I moved here when I was probably, I think I was starting 8th grade
Okay.
here. So then, so yeah, I was here. So we slowed down a little bit. We were definitely still making stuff. We weren't making as much as we were in those first 2 or 3 years. But still making stuff. But that's also around the time that we started to be like, okay, maybe we should like write a script, or like maybe we should like have a plan before we press record.
Right. And wing it.
And yeah. And then I also in high school was able, was fortunate to take some editing classes. That's the first time I learned how to edit not on a VCR, edit like nonlinear editing on your computer. And that was a hugely important thing. And I had a class called media production that we made like music videos, and that was kind of the first time I was able to get my hands on slightly more advanced gear, at least more advanced than VHS.
Sure.
And
But you're editing then to rhythm or verse or against rhythm. You're learning. I've always thought when when MTV first came out, I loved the videos as short films.
Yeah.
And it made me think about something. Or I've always there's songs that I had that I wanted to shoot videos of because I started to see a story in my head that was connected to that song.
Yeah.
So that was for me something that has stuck with me, and I'm enjoying editing more and more.
Yeah.
But it started with that kind of stuff with videos.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
you are telling stories to music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a big light bulb, I think, for me, like with rhythm and stuff like that, and how important rhythm is with editing and stuff like that. And with it's very difficult to achieve that with 2 VCRs. And so being able to have that control, and I was able to play with other effects, like have play things in reverse, or just to be really precise with things. And so
Is there a certain teacher you want to do a shout out to that really spurred you on, or a certain person early on that really gave you a piece of knowledge that got you going?
Yeah. So that class media production was taught by a guy named Colin Webb.
Yeah.
And just giving my first experience with lighting, and he was just very encouraging and very talented, and also just a good teacher and very good at kind of explaining things and stuff like that.
To have those. Colin Webb.
Yeah.
This one's for you, Colin Webb. Thank you for being a good teacher and inspiring this young man to keep, well, not so young anymore. It has gotten a little whiter. But for inspiring this young man to keep going forward and to make, and it worked because the details are there. Whatever you learned from him has continued to succeed to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we make the transition to actually going for it?
So throughout high school and stuff like that, I was very heavily involved. So I took that class, and then I was also heavily involved with stagecraft, which was more theatrical stage and stuff like that. But I definitely shout out to John Bielich as well, who was my teacher at the time. Yeah, which you probably know. Yeah.
He's been on the pod.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
No, I had him in.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
We had a great chat, which you guys may or may not have heard, depending on the order of the episodes, right, Sash?
But he learned a lot from him just about his big thing was about taking initiative, and if you see something that needs to be done, just do it. And that was another really big light bulb moment for me.
Be a problem solver, not a problem maker.
There we go.
If you just heed to that rule alone, you will work out okay on a set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So then I ended up at I kind of, lost my way a little bit, or just wasn't really sure what to do in Oklahoma. It wasn't a big like film industry here at that point. Things were here. There was some stuff that would come every once in a while, but not.
But
not
you're
a lot.
coming out of college at this point, or you're coming out of high school.
Yeah, coming out of high school, and so wasn't sure what to do. So I ended up I went to school for broadcasting first,
Oh.
more like news and stuff like that, which I enjoyed it. I thought, oh, there's a camera. It's the same thing. Like
Sure.
maybe it's the same.
Quicker though.
Yeah, much faster pace, but very, very different with the way you use the tools is very different.
Sure.
And so, but then from there, I had found out OCCC did a like 3-week like film thing. So the first week was pre-production, second week was production, third week was post-production.
Oh wow.
And so it was just like this really like kind of, you get like a very general knowledge of everything over the
Sure.
3 weeks. And
But you're already coming in from having done it, figuring it out on your own.
I've done some stuff.
and now doing it for real with newscasting stuff.
Yeah.
Which is a very different. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. And so when I heard about that course, that 3-week thing, it's like a summer course thing. I jumped on that, and that's when the bug truly was like, okay, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like this is who I am. So yeah, from then I moved to a new film school that started at Oklahoma City University, started by Fritz Kirish, who taught that 3-week class or was a part of it. So yeah, I was at film school at OCU for the rest of my college life and learned a lot there. That's what really expanded my mind beyond mainstream movies,
Sure.
and really expanded my mind into like foreign films and in art house films, and just really broaden my perspective of what films could be.
Yeah. And
like,
influence you on how to shoot them yourself.
of
My
course.
gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, so I went into it expecting to watch like Godfather and Star Wars and stuff like that, which incredible movies, don't get me wrong, but this really
You're coming
expanded my
out with Fellini,
mind.
you're
Yeah,
coming at- yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like they just showed me, introduced me to a whole new world that I didn't know about. Like French New Wave is like the greatest wave of cinema of all time.
And
It's
the
so good.
influence
Yeah.
of French New Wave on
Yeah.
films that are popular.
Yeah, oh my God,
The
yeah.
Professional is
Yeah.
completely a French New Wave
Mhm.
film, to a certain extent. I feel like
Yeah,
there's a lot,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
influence in that film, and that is a dynamite.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at school.
Mhm.
How do we decide that we can make it a profession?
Yeah. So
Are you starting to work with other people? Are you becoming an auteur of your own?
kind of, yeah. So like, as part of it, I went into it mostly wanting to do camera, do cinematography.
Right.
And it was kind of a new program. And so there like wasn't a lot being made. So there wasn't a lot for me to actually get an opportunity to be a cinematographer.
Mm.
So
you're learning theory, you're learning about different cameras, but you're not actually.
Yeah, not actually getting to work on anybody's films yet, because there's just not that many people are making films there yet.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that's kind of when I started leaning more into like the writing and directing myself, just to give me stuff to shoot, basically. And then of course I got the bit by the directing bug as well, and the writing bug. Really, I never thought I'd be a writer. And so yeah, but then once I started directing stuff, and then kind of people saw what I was doing, then they kind of asked me to work on their things, and so I kind of was able to shoot a lot of like the student shorts there
Sure.
at the school. And then the first feature film I worked on was actually a part of the school's a program thing. So Lance McDaniel directed a movie called Unsolved, and it was his like capstone project, and it was
Oh,
a
okay.
feature-length slasher movie.
Oh wow. Are you a USDP?
No, I was first AC, so that was
Okay.
my first time working as an assistant camera, and I learned a lot on that set.
AC, for those who don't know, is
Yeah.
but like pulling focus,
Yeah.
grabbing the lenses in between takes. I'm sure
Exactly.
many of you
Carrying
do
the
know
camera
that.
around,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
You are the assistant to the person that is the DP for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah, exactly. And so got a ton of experience there, met a lot more people there. And then, so yeah, that was my first experience. Really, really just fell in love with it there. And then, yeah, once I graduated, just started reaching out. There was like a film that was filming here called, what was it called? Heaven's Rain. years ago, not long after I got out of school, and I had some friends.
Like a
who
feature coming through, or this was like more
Yeah.
like an indie thing? That
It was,
people
yeah,
put
it was
together?
like a largest budget indie film
Nice.
that I think had originated. I think the writer was from here or something like that.
Okay, and they caught wind of you, and you're joining the crew.
Yeah, so I basically had some friends who were working on it just as like PAs and stuff, and they basically not snuck me on the set. I had permission to be there, but I was just kind of there just to like
Break the rules.
observe and have a chance to see a budget or a film on that budget.
Yeah,
And but I just went and hung out with the camera crew.
yeah.
And was asking questions and offered to help, carry stuff when they needed to carry stuff. And then at the end of the day, they're like, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And so I ended up coming back, every day for the rest of the shoot, and just got a lot of great experience working with a camera crew. And that was that was shot on film, so that was like.
And you didn't become part of the crew. You weren't getting paid. You were. Just
I wasn't
hustling.
getting paid. Yeah, I was just hustling. Yeah. And
It's missing a little bit to people who that is a go-getting attitude when you
Mm.
realize something. Here's an opportunity for me to learn from people who are actually fucking doing it and getting paid.
Yeah.
It's really smart.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was really, I just got along great with those guys, and they were very, very kind to, and very open, and also probably excited to have someone else to help carry heavy things for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then from there, just kept making contacts and stuff. I ended up working as an AC on a MTV reality show that it never made it to air, but they filmed for like 3 months, and so I was there every day for that, and just every time just met someone new. That's actually where I met Lance Rivas, who was the gaffer on Janitor
Really? Oh fuck.
and Flint. Yeah.
People that I have met on Janitor and Flint have turned up on so many different projects that I've
Yeah.
worked on since then. It's really kind of dope.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And to have those
It's a
films,
solid crew. Yeah.
everybody worked really hard, solid crew, and to have the success that it had is fantastic. All right,
Yeah.
so we're going to fast forward. Your
Yeah.
first feature,
Yeah.
because I want to talk about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
to come out of the gates with it looking stunning, it's
Well, thank you.
No, it's beautiful,
Yeah.
and then I haven't seen the whole film, but there's to have shout outs to Altered States and all
Mm.
these like fun derivative things, but to have its own look and its own feel, and that's really strong.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. So it's hard to know where it originated. It was just kind of an idea that had been bouncing around for a while. I was interested in sci-fi, and I knew I was a big fan of like film noir and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so I knew whatever my first feature was, I wanted it to kind of be a blend of those two things that I love so much.
Genre crossing is so. We've seen more of that be successful, and you
Yeah.
tapped into that very early on, which
Wow,
is
wow.
a really nice.
Yeah, it's just because I like it.
Yeah.
So, so that ended up being Electric Nostalgia is the name of the film, and it was kind of very shocking how well it did. Like, we were basically a bunch of nobodies. We made some short films. We got into some festivals with like our shorts and stuff like that. And when we went to put this together, I had kind of been since college like saving up money here and there. I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna want to make a movie at some point, so let me save up some money for that. But of course, then as we're like budgeting it, we're like, this isn't enough money. We're gonna need more to actually do this. And we decided to, my business partner, Vinny, who I should mention, I met him in college. And we've
Vinny
been making
Hogan.
things.
Shout out to Vinny.
Yeah, we've been making things together ever since then. So he really pushed. He's like, you guys should do a crowdfunding, or we should do a crowdfunding. We should do Indiegogo.
Right.
And I really pushed back on that. And eventually I was like, okay, we'll do one.
What was that process like? I've never gone through that, because I know many people have gone through that.
Yeah, it's very rewarding, and also a major headache inducing and very
Right.
stressful and very time consuming to do it right and to be successful. Like, it's basically a full-time job. Just constant hustling. And so
I'm realizing producing a podcast is a full-time job, which I didn't think about.
we learn something new all the time. Live and learn.
Yeah.
So we did this Indiegogo, and we're just kind of really truly blown away at the response. So we'd put together a proof of concept video.
Right.
We had a video, our campaign video that kind of explained who we are and what we're doing, and then it ended with this 45-second, maybe a minute long,
But
proof of
beautiful.
concept. Oh, thank you.
No, it really is sharp.
Yeah, and so we made it in our mom's garage just with friends, and but it really took off, and it really kind of spread very quickly.
Yeah.
And especially once we put out a casting call, like we thought we'll be lucky if we get like 20 people this casting call, and we ended up seeing like nearly 200 people.
It's always like that.
It was just nuts. Yeah.
Anytime you actually put that, you're never going to just get 50.
Yeah.
There's so many hungry people out
yeah.
who keep a wide range of
Yeah.
what is going on.
Yeah.
And they want to be involved.
Of course,
I've
yeah.
seen that here.
Yeah. And there's a lot of talented people. Like there were we met so many people, through that audition process that we were like, man, it's a shame there's not more roles in this movie. Like
Yeah.
we want to work with these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, we found a really incredible cast. We all just really gelled throughout production. Like we really truly
How long
were
was the
like
shoot?
a family. It ended up being about 20 days, I think 15 to 20 days.
Wow. You were
yeah.
directing NDP on it? Or were
Yeah,
you-
I directed it and shot it. And had
How was
written
that experience? Because you're working with the actors and you're putting the stuff behind the camera.
it was it was
That's a lot.
a lot. The first couple of days, it took a little bit to kind of find my rhythm and
Yeah.
figure out how to handle that. But also like that's kind of how I'd always been doing it anyway. So like it kind of I already kind of was able to keep one eye on the screen and one eye on what the actor's doing,
Yeah.
And
I mean, obviously you're looking at the camera, so you're looking at the performance.
yeah.
But I'm sure there's times when you disassociate yourself with the performance to look at the.
Sure. Yeah. Like
Does that? I know as an actor, when I have a moment of like, oh, this is fucking going well,
Mhm.
that's when everything is.
Yeah.
You forget the lines, or
Yeah.
suddenly it's just like a fart in church. Do you
Uh,
have moments as a DP where you're like, oh, this shot is, or oh, this acting's great, and oh fuck, we're off on the shot. Does that conflict for you?
I can't think of a particular instance now. I'm sure that's happened, but I do my best to I do a lot of prep with the actors whenever I can,
Yeah.
and then like the as far as like shooting, I usually have a pretty detailed shot list, and depending on the scene, maybe storyboards and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
in the moment, I can truly kind of focus on just what's happening in front of me, and use the and also as a camera operator, I consider myself a part of the performance to a certain extent.
Oh my God,
And so, which I think we've talked about. Like it feels like a dance.
It is a
Between us.
true
Yeah.
dance, and the connection between the DP and the actor is so fucking important.
Yeah.
That that a shorthand is found, so we can all have this triumvirate. If you're the lead of a film or whatever, if you're
Yeah.
in the scene, there should. Yeah. You never want to come in with too many ideas because nobody wants to know fucking all of them. Just act. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But when you come in, I heard Ethan Hawke talk about it, that I can't look
Mm.
at a part now without looking at it as a filmmaker. And I think I said that to you when I first
Yeah.
landed, that you guys were going to do a scout. And this guy, I was like, can I come? Can I come? And I'm sure part of you is like, oh my God, here's like a fucking actor that wants to. But I always want to say, no, but I'm not one of those.
Yeah.
I'm someone who's thinking about it as a producer, thinking about it as a writer, thinking about it like, oh, I might have like 2 or 3 that you guys didn't think of that might save us time, or that might be a little bit more dynamic, or somewhere in the middle, we're going to find something that's better than we had to start with.
Mhm.
And you guys
Yeah.
were always open to that
Yeah, totally.
from the get-go. And it was really cool to sort of land having, you don't want to coming off of an HBO show that you're shooting in New York and coming back to Tulsa and you're going to be the lead in the short, and you don't want to come in as an asshole, or that you think you know too much, or that
Mhm.
you think that I'm going to tell everybody what to do. But I was so like humming on so many different levels that I'm like, please let me add. Please let me say yes, and please let me
Yeah.
sort of contribute. And
Yeah.
you guys were so fucking open to that.
Of course, yeah.
Both the directors, Chris Oz McIntosh, who we've also had on the show,
Yeah.
and Sterling. and watching you work with 2 different directors, the whole 9 yards, it was really good. I should shut up, but it's just giving you your flowers was really, really fun.
Yeah, feel free to keep showering the compliments. I don't mind.
So you're doing your own material, but you're also a gun for hire. How do you decide which do you go?
I mean, it's, I think I'm still struggling, which is which. Yeah,
sure.
And so like I love them both. So like it takes way more time than you want it to get projects off the ground. You know,
yes.
like between like the writing is its own thing, but then once you're like, okay, I want to do this, then like the actual funding and all that stuff like just takes forever. So like to fill those gaps, I want to keep working with people, and like that's the fun part, like being able to kind of I being the director, having that creative weight on you is a great feeling, but also like it's nice to not be the top guy. It's nice to be like kind of helping the top guy.
Yes. Yes.
And
I love coming and not being the lead of a fucking film.
Yeah,
I love when
yeah.
I could just come in,
yeah,
do my little thing, and not have all of the things that come along.
exactly.
With
Yeah. Let everybody else worry about that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
Yes.
and obviously, cinematographer, you still have a huge amount of weight on your shoulders, but it's just a different type of, it's just a different thing. I find that I can relax a little bit more as a cinematographer, and I love getting to meet new actors, or I get working with different directors. They all have their own style of both their on-screen style of what the movie that they're making or the project, but also just how they actually talk to people and how they direct and stuff like that. Everybody's different, and so it's just and I'm also just like so far all of my films have been sci-fi or horror leaning and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But I'm a lover of all genres and want to work within all genres.
And you can, which is dope.
Exactly. Oh well, thank you.
Because Just the Janitor has 2 genres within it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sort of has an 80s action film.
Yeah. Oh my
And
god.
then it
Yeah.
also has like it's just a gritty. There's a film called Nobody. I don't know if you know it or not, but it's that's what I always likened it to.
Yeah, that's when I read
really like. You get dropped at the end of an 80s action film, and then suddenly it turns on a dime into Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That was when I first read the script and first talked to Sterling. That's what the exact thing I said. I said this kind of has Nobody was the first thing I thought of reading it, and he was like, "Oh, great, yeah, perfect."
Yeah,
but yeah, that was really exciting when Sterling called, because I'd been a fan of him and known his work for a long time and had no idea that he had any idea who I was.
So no connection with Sterling prior?
Yeah, no, I'd never worked with him, never met him or anything. So
how did you find out about the project to sort of throw your hat in the ring for it to be the DP, or did he find you?
He found me. He came to me.
Nice.
So I had no idea that he knew who I was. I had, I followed his work for a while. But he apparently had seen Shifter, my second film, and was a fan of that. And when he was going to make Janitor,
Shifter, by the way, is on Amazon Prime, and you can catch it on there as well.
Yes, yeah.
Watch the trailer and tell me you're not intrigued to fucking check that thing out, dude. Again,
Please.
It's just beautifully shot.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, like so yeah. In connection to that, so Sterling had seen Shifter, and when he was making Janitor, he's like thinking about who he wanted to shoot it, and he was like, "Man, Shifter looked really good. Who shot Shifter?"
Yeah,
and he was like, "Oh, it was the guy who directed it. Why don't I just get him on there?" And so yeah, he reached out to me, and it was out of the blue. I just had no idea, didn't know anything about the project or anything. And he reached out.
you guys jail right off the bat, or did
Totally,
you read it? Did you read it and you're like, yes?
Yeah, he. I can't remember the exact order of the events. I think we met over Zoom first, and then he kind of pitched me the project, and pitched it all to me and sent over the script, and I read it probably that night and was like, oh yeah, totally.
So
like,
strong.
So like, reading that opening scene with that big action scene, like, I've gotten to do lots of stuff, but I hadn't been able to do anything like that yet as a cinematographer. And it was like, 1, I'm excited. I can't wait to do this. And then 2, can I do this?
Dude, you kicked its ass. You kicked its ass.
Team effort. Yeah.
If you haven't seen Just the Janitor, we're going to play, I don't know when this is going to add, but we were playing at Muskogee the Bare Bones Film Festival, and I'll
Yeah.
just put a spot out about this anyway, so
Yeah,
they can
do
catch
it.
it because
Yeah.
it's such a good movie.
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of it, and like that opening scene. Like I'm proud of everything, but that opening scene was just a very different thing that I hadn't got
Oh man,
to do before, and working
huge
with.
fight sequence
Oh, it's
in
awesome,
in a
yeah.
day, in an afternoon.
Oh my god, yeah, it was so fast.
Talk
Like,
about running and gunning.
yeah,
With a warehouse filled with people, all just like, let's see how they do this.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, I mean, we were super fortunate with Kevin Chambers, who was the stunt coordinator and played kind of the action hero
Yeah.
in that scene. Like he was just so easy to work
And
with.
John.
And yeah, exactly, yeah. And like the teamwork between all of us, you know, like
It's tight, dude.
yeah,
Everybody
like,
was up for the challenge. It was
totally
really cool.
Yeah, and it was just the collaboration was very interesting. I've seen things or heard stories, you know, where like big stunt scenes, like the stunt guys will have like very specific, like, no, the camera needs to be here and it needs to be here, and like you can't move. Blah blah blah.
None
blah.
of that shit was happening, dog.
Yeah. Like
We were
anytime-
changing up stuff and like, what if we do a
Constantly.
thing here? And it's like, sure.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking cool.
Yeah, they just adjusted and figured it out.
Yeah,
like it was
man.
just really incredible. Like sometimes I was like, really, we can do this?
I felt
Like,
so blessed to be part of that whole freaking experience because I got to do stunts again. I got to
Yeah.
do a bow stick fight. Are you kidding me?
oh my god, it was sick.
Bring
yeah,
it.
yeah, it was so sick.
It's really, and then there's this other film called Flint. If you haven't seen it, if
Yeah.
it comes around, you should catch it because it's
Absolutely.
a thriller, tightly wound, really quiet, small moments. And I we're probably getting close to the end of time because we've talked to,
Okay,
about
yeah.
where you came from. But there was this moment. There's a final monologue, which is like I think it was a 2 to 3 page monologue.
Yeah.
It's heavy lifting at the end of a film, and it's a lot is being thrown down in this. Now, we're also trimming and tightening along the way,
Mhm.
but there was this moment where it's just you and me, and I'm talking to the kid, but this shot is just you and me,
Mhm.
and there's not a lot of movement in it.
Yeah.
But there was a moment that you just did that. Or I can't remember if we
Really?
talked
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Like he just touched my wrist.
Yeah.
And I knew that meant that he needed me to come in a little bit closer.
Oh yeah.
And I think that cut made the film because he had mentioned to me, if you come to this exact spot, and we'd been really specific about it, but in the middle of a huge 2-page monologue,
Yeah.
when the camera's this tight,
Yeah.
if I came to this, if I scooched a little bit forward, I would catch the moonlight in the gleam of my eye.
Mhm.
And you caught that shit.
Yeah.
And we hummed on that together.
Yeah.
And big emotional scene, you know, a lot of raw emotions going on, but even
Yeah.
in the quietest of moments, we could have that communication and we were
Yeah.
sensitive to each other. It was just such
Yeah.
a delight to have that kind of stuff with you and have those shared moments.
Oh
with
my
you.
god, yeah. Like, and I mean, like, you know, it was so much fun going from janitor, you know, just like a month or two later, working on.
I think
Flint,
2 months, I'm like,
yeah,
hey,
you're
hold
we're
that.
back.
Fuck, we're good.
Yeah, and so yeah, just you know, like you said, like 2 very different films, but just like I don't know, it's great when you just gel with
Yeah.
somebody and just gel with like an actor.
You
and-
very rarely get not only to have a second experience, but to
Mhm.
have one kind of on its heels.
yeah.
Which was, you know, to have a great experience universally, and then to have another one
Yeah.
universally
yeah.
is very rare. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of the teams that were put together. But I think it's what you bring to the table, dog. If you want a
Thank
good DP to work on your film who is thinking about story and thinking about things in many ways that you haven't, lighting, the whole enchilada, this cat right here is a guy that you want to work on your film from the get-go, soup to nuts. But he's also, as a producer, as a writer, there's many ways in which this man can add to the film process. He is a gem in this community. And I really figure, I feel so lucky to have had real quickly the chance to work with you. And you were someone when these guys talked about putting a podcast together, I wanted to give you your flowers and get you at this table so more people work with you because you're fucking talented, dog.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and right back at you.
That's why I said that. Ladies and gentlemen. That was a long monologue. Yeah, and, hey.
Ditto. Yeah.
But, and I was going to say, I on Facebook, if you're on the socials, Jacob's putting a lot of really beautiful work, and I noticed that on your post, you talk about everybody else in the fucking film,
Yeah,
except the guy who's in all the fucking shots.
Oh, no, yeah,
Thanks.
not important. Yeah.
Thanks for that. never fails to amaze me. Look this guy's work up. Work with him. And I can't wait to find the next project that we work on because I know we're going to find another one.
I can't wait.
We will come back. I'll have you back at the table to talk about this one.
Please do.
It was an honor to hear more about where you came from, and we will have more discussions about where you're. Is there anything, before we leave, I know we're running tight on time.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's coming up that you want to sort of throw out there that you're working towards?
Sure. We have a short film kind of on the circuit now. It's nearing the end of its kind of festival circuit run called When Shadows Lay Darkest.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, thank you. It's kind of our take on like a slasher movie, and it is
with a wonderful actress named
Leah N.H. Philpott.
Oh boy!
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about Hell Hath No Fury, which I wrote and produced and shot.
Yes, Hell Hath No Fury,
yeah.
which is another one. If you get out there, it's on. It's on.
It's out there. It's on Amazon, Apple.
Hell Hath No Fury. Check this. If you like noir, if you like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type thing,
kind of, yeah,
where like the husband and the wife are kind of going at it in a way you're like, holy shit, they have issues.
Yeah,
fucking watch this.
Yeah,
thing. It's a
and
dynamite.
if you love to laugh, yeah,
and great performance. Forgetting his name, the lead.
Oh, Jacob Snovel, yeah.
Jacob Snovel, another local talent from OKC who's just dynamite.
Yeah, the two of them.
Film. Check this thing out. Look up this cat's work. IMDb this motherfucker and check his shit out. I tell you, you will not be disappointed. Too many more movies, too many more experiences. Thank you for joining the table.
Yeah.
Thank you, Huff. Thank you, Sash. Thank you for all your work that you do out there in the community. Thank you for listening to the damn show, everybody. And our numbers are growing, and people are getting interested. And I just want to thank you all for continuing to watch, continuing to listen, continuing to spread the word out there that we exist on Spotify, on iTunes, on YouTube. And check out our YouTube channel for more content, because we're going to be putting some really fun shit up there. Probably stuff that these two might not want me to put up there, but they don't even know the stuff that I'm going to drop up there yet. Thanks for listening to Sitting with the Sosko.